Welcome to Retiring Well, where it's our job to help you enjoy financial security in any economy. Well, I'm really excited for today's show because we are going to be talking about how to properly structure your retirement portfolio. Then we're going to talk to a retirement planning expert, a specialist, if you will, who can give us their thoughts on structuring retirement portfolios. And then at the end of the show, we'll wrap it up with a special treat from my dog, Charlie. So sit back, relax, and enjoy today's show.
Retiring Well with Michael Reese, providing financial security in any economy. Today is the day you can take control of your financial future and eliminate worrying about your money forever. Retiring Well with Michael Reese, featuring Chartered Retirement Planning Counselor Tad Hill, founder of Freedom Financial Group in Birmingham.
Today we are talking about how to properly structure your retirement portfolio. And as you can see, I've got my handy dandy flip chart behind me, so I'm in great shape to share a message here today. Now, the thing to remember when it comes to retirement planning with your retirement portfolio, there is one word that reigns supreme. This is the most important word, and that word is income. Now, why is that so important? And by the way, it doesn't matter if you're already retired. It doesn't matter if you will be retiring in the near future. It doesn't even matter if you're 25 years old and you've got many, many years in front of you. The key to retirement success, the key, the secret, if you will, to enjoying financial security in any economy is right there. It's all about making sure that you have stable and predictable streams of retirement income coming to you no matter what the markets do. Your retirement income should not rely on the market. In other words, it should be based on math, not markets. That's what we like to say. So, how do you go about doing that, and how do you set up your retirement portfolio to create income? Well, let's start with assuming that you're retired today, that you're already retired. And then what we'll do is we'll then flash back and say, well, what if you're still working? Then what do you do? If you are already retired, it is a lot simpler, at least in my opinion, than most financial advisors make it out to be. So I want you to think about it this way. Let's imagine that this is your pot of money, your retirement accounts. And what we typically do is we simply do a little carve out. And what I mean by that is we identify what percentage of the portfolio that you need to set aside to generate that predictable stream of income. And then the rest of the portfolio over here can be for growth. So this side is income. This side is, I'll just put a G for growth, because you still have to have growth. You know, there's this thing out there called inflation, and right now, lately, it hasn't been that big, but the way the Fed is printing money, you have to anticipate that there is a risk that it could get a lot higher in the future. You've got to have some part of your portfolio over there in growth to make sure you protect yourself against future inflation. So anyway, what you do is you simply say, all right, let's say, and just to throw some numbers out there, let's imagine for the sake of discussion that you're sitting on $500,000 in your retirement accounts. Now you may have more, you may have less, but this is just designed to give you an idea. And let's pretend, for the sake of our discussion, that you want a couple $1,000s a month for income, maybe $24,000 a year, and you do the math, that's about a 5% income stream. So that's, you're already kind of borderline on the edge. You might need, though, you might need to use $400,000 to generate that $2,000 a month. So if you want $2,000 a month, you might say, boy, $400,000 has to be over here, and maybe $100,000 has to be over here. Or what if you need $1,500 a month? Well, then you need less money over here, more money over there. The idea is, and this is again, why do I always tell you to talk to a retirement planning specialist? Because retirement planning specialists they can tell you how do you structure your income so that you have the smallest amount of money over here so that you can have the most money possible over there. Make sense? Now, again, I can't really go into all kinds of details because what might make sense for you versus your neighbor could be two different things, so that's not going to be real helpful. I just want you to capture the concept that segregating your portfolio into income-producing assets to generate stable income versus, over here, leaving the rest for growth makes a lot of sense for retirees. All right, what if you're not retired? You know, you might be sitting there saying, wow, Mike, that's fabulous information, but I'm not retired yet. Well, then what do you do? Well, let's turn the page here a little bit. We have kind of the same type of thing going on. What I want you to do is to start, especially if you are age 50 and older. So if you're within 10 years of retirement, I want you to start thinking about setting up streams of future guaranteed income. Now, here's what you need to recognize. A lot of times your money's in a 401k or 403b, and you might be stuck there with the options that are given to you, and that's, if you are, you are. Those should be growth accounts. 401ks, 403bs are designed to be growth accounts. But if you've switched jobs, if you have money outside of retirement plans, maybe you have old IRAs or old 401ks, with those you have the freedom to set up what I refer to, and you've heard these before, PPP, which stands for Personal or Private Pension Plans. These are simply accounts that you can set up with insurance companies where they guarantee income, a certain level of income at a point in the road, a point later on in time. And it's very, very common. When you look at these, in fact, I'll probably do a show in a couple weeks on these specifically, but when you look at how they work, there is a roll-up period where they credit you interest at a guaranteed rate during the roll-up period. That's while you're still working. And then once you retire, they have a payout percentage where they guarantee some level of payout. Good news, you know everything going in. And here's the best part about it. If you try to duplicate these in a mutual fund portfolio, it's very typical that you have to earn about 10% a year. What do I just say there? Let's say you've got 10 years to go to retire, and you have maybe $250,000. To duplicate what these plans do on a guaranteed basis, you know, let's say you're 55, you're going to retire when you're 65. To duplicate what this does on a guaranteed basis, you have to earn 10% a year over the next 10 years on average just to duplicate what that does on a guaranteed basis. These are powerful tools, and if you're not retired yet, you should be talking to a retirement planning specialist to learn more about those. All right, I'm running a little tight on time, so don't go away. Coming up after the break, we are going to talk to a retirement planning specialist and learn a little bit more about structuring your retirement portfolio.
Let's talk about a customized retirement plan. Retiring today is not what it used to be. What works for your neighbor may not be best for you. Yet everywhere you turn, it seems like financial firms are giving cookie-cutter advice.
Your circumstances are different than anyone else's. As a chartered retirement planning counselor, my Retirement Roadmap Review is designed to uncover the must-know facts for your situation before we start implementing solutions.
It's one more reason that now, more than ever, you need to talk to a retirement planning specialist. Why not call the number on your screen right now? We'd love to talk to you about protecting your retirement. Traditionally, American retirees could look forward to 3 strong pillars of retirement income: a well-funded Social Security system, substantial corporate pensions with retiree health benefits, and a strong personal savings rate. Unfortunately, the booming population coming of retirement age has changed all that. Now, the responsibility for providing retirement income has largely shifted away from the government and employers to you. That's why we're offering a powerful, full-color special report, which explains the 10 most pressing variables you must consider when creating a sound retirement income strategy for the years ahead. You can get this informative report for only $4.95. Simply go to www.retiringwell.tv and click on Get Your Reports to order your copy today. But hurry, this is a limited time offer while supplies last. Let's talk about retirement income. Studies show that a large number of retirees are worried about running out of money. Broken promises from banks, Wall Street, and the folks in Washington, D.C. may have you worried about your own retirement security.
Having a predictable income stream is a key ingredient to protecting your retirement. One potential way to do that is to have your income stream based on math and not markets.
It's one more reason that now, more than ever, you need to talk to a retirement planning specialist. Why not call the number on your screen right now? We'd love to talk to you about protecting your retirement.
Well, I'm here with Tad Hill, Chartered Retirement Planning Counselor, founder of Freedom Financial Group in Birmingham, Alabama. You know, Tad, we are talking about how to properly structure a retirement portfolio this week. And I'm just curious, when you have conversations with your clients in Birmingham, you know, what are some of the things that you're talking about when it comes to retirement portfolios?
Well, Mike, you and I have discussed this plenty of times, and the first conversation we have about retirement portfolios is we're asking something of your retirement portfolio that we've never asked of your portfolio before, and that is that we need to replace your paycheck with it. You know, when you're working, your paycheck is coming in from your job, and you're amassing as much wealth as you can so that once you retire, your savings replaces your paycheck. So that's the main conversation. Now the question is, how big does the paycheck need to be? It's this piece of planning that I really find frequently is missing from people's lives. People have made assumptions about what they're going to need, but they've never really sat down and specifically nailed down exactly what you're going to need from your portfolio. That's a critical piece of our retirement roadmap process. And we have a strategy that we use to exactly identify what that is. Now, after we do that, then we want to lay down your income in as predictable a way as we possibly can. So what I like to do is make the income that we're going to need to replace your paycheck as secure and predictable as we can possibly make it. If we can turn it into a pension-like income, then that's good. Normally that only takes a portion of your portfolio. And you know, talking about structuring retirement portfolios, Mike, last week we talked about how many studies are coming out and saying the old rules of thumb of being able to withdraw 4% from your portfolio don't apply anymore. So we have to be very intelligent about how we're structuring things so that we're ensuring that you, our clients, don't run out of money. So it's that conversation that we have to have. What are your circumstances and what do we need to ensure that your money is going to last as long as you do?
Now, Tad, like tax planning last week, you know, there is no one-size-fits-all when it comes to retirement planning. Do you have maybe 2 or 3 tips that our viewers could take away from this discussion?
Mike, there's a couple of main points. One is a little bit of what I said earlier. First thing we have to do is ensure that we've got the bills paid. So we want to segment your investments in a way that will do that as predictably as possible. There's a couple of ways you can do this. One is to ensure that we're generating enough income from your investments. So if we're going to use traditional market-based investments, we want to know that the yield from those investments, not whether the market went up or down last year, but the cash flow that we're throwing off is enough to actually pay the bills. Often when we do our analysis, we find that people think they're generating more yield than they actually are. So we want to understand exactly what the yield is and whether that's enough to pay the bills. If we're not going to solve it that way, then we can use something like a fixed annuity that will get us a pension-like income. Now, if we're going to use an annuity, we have to understand that the thing that it does very well is get us that income. If something happens to you, as long as there's money in the account, there's money left behind. but annuities do come with drawbacks, particularly surrender penalties. So it needs to be money that we've set aside that we understand this is a lifelong strategy that we're going to use to pay the bills so that no matter what happens, we've got the bills paid. A lot of times, for whatever reason, people don't want to use an annuity. Then we go back to the yield scenario where we are making sure that we're generating enough yield from your investments. And yield's a hard thing to find these days. A lot of folks in the past have just put their income money in CDs. Well, that's a secure place to generate interest and live off that interest. The challenge we've got these days is the interest from CDs isn't very much. And then we look at studies like the Morningstar study that says really if we've got it in stocks and bonds, we can only pull 2.8% out without the risk of running out of money. So a lot of challenges here, and really everybody's circumstances are different. We want to understand what's going on in your life and structure things in a way that's comfortable for you but will accomplish the goals.
You know, Tad, week in and week out, you really make the complex seem simple. I really appreciate those thoughts, and I'm sure our viewers do too. And in fact, I also am certain that as the viewers are watching, they're thinking to themselves, at least those in the Birmingham area, that they would love an opportunity to visit with you. And I do also know that you charge fees. So Tad, help me out here. If someone wants to talk to you, under what circumstances can they do so? And are you ever willing to waive some of those fees?
Well, Mike, for the viewers watching today, if you're already retired or preparing for retirement and you've got questions about your situation like, is my money going to last as long as I do? How do I structure things to give me the best chance of living the lifestyle that I want to live without running out of money? Am I overexposed to another market crash? How do I structure things to limit that exposure and still get what I need from my savings in retirement? How do I structure things to be as tax efficient as possible? If I'm going to leave money behind to my kids, how do I do that without half the money going to the government? These are questions that are on people's minds, and they're the ones that I hear the most. So if you're curious about these things for your circumstances, call the number on the screen in the next 15 minutes, and I'm willing to set aside time on my calendar to sit down and do our retirement roadmap review. That answers these questions for you for your circumstances. We do require that you have at least $250,000 set aside for retirement, but if so, and you want to know the answers for your life, for your circumstances, call the number on the screen in the next 15 minutes. I'll set aside time on my calendar to help answer those questions for you.
Tad, that's a wonderful offer you just made. So folks, you heard it here. If you fit the criteria he just mentioned, and if you call in the next 15 minutes on the number on the screen, then he is willing to waive the initial consultation fee. Folks, I know this. If I were in Birmingham and I fit that criteria, I'd be on the phone calling right now to sit down with Tad. All right, I want to change gears here a little bit, change topics, if you will. You know, Tad, we got a question in from one of the viewers actually in Birmingham. Sharon in Birmingham has sent us a question, and since she's in your area, I'd love to hear your response. Now, Sharon asks about bonds. So she sends in the question. She says, hi, I have bonds in my portfolio. I'm hearing that that's actually a little dangerous place to be right now, but I always thought bonds were safe. What's the right answer? Are they safe or not? Tad, would you be willing to share your thoughts on how safe bonds are right now?
Well, Mike, one thing I want to point out is that in my opinion, all investments have some form of risk. Even if we took our money and stuck it in a safe in the basement or a safe deposit box at the bank, having cash has risk associated with it. Inflation risk, those sorts of things. So when we use the word safe, I'm very careful about that because I personally don't believe any investment is completely safe. Now, some are more secure than others, and bonds typically fall into the category of investments that we think of as being more secure than others. However, there is a big risk with bonds right now, and we've touched on this, interest rates. Interest rates are at historical lows. They're starting to tick up. If we've got bond investments, we have to be very aware of that, and we need to have a strategy on how to handle rising interest rates. Most people have bond investments in mutual funds. That raises the level of risk, because now we can't hold it to maturity where we can with an individual bond. So are bonds safe? I don't think anything is safe. Everything has risk associated with it. But bonds in particular have a risk that most people may not be aware of, and that is interest rate risk. So we need to be very aware of what we need from our investments and how to get yield or return and limit the amount of risk that we're taking. It's a tough environment out there today. I'm not going to lie about that. It's challenging. So you want to be with somebody who understands how to think through these things for your circumstances.
Thanks again, Tad, for all that great information. And again, if you're in the Birmingham area and you want to visit with Tad, which, by the way, I think is a great idea, call the number on the screen. Just pick up the phone, call it right now, and set up a time where you can visit with Tad face-to-face. All right, coming up, we are going to get a terrific treat this week from my dog, Charlie.
Let's talk about ways to protect your principal that have the potential to earn a decent return. Many of you want your money to be protected. That makes a lot of sense in today's unsettled economy. But it's difficult these days to find a place that pays you a reasonable amount of interest. It's frustrating. That's where we come in.
Ways to protect your principal with the potential to earn a decent return are available if you know where to look. We evaluate them every day.
It's one more reason that now more than ever you need to talk to a retirement planning specialist. Why not call the number on your screen right now? We'd love to talk to you about protecting your retirement.
Hi, Michael Reese here, and you know what I found is in that critical period, the 5 years before retirement, all the way to the 5 years after retirement, in that 10-year period, I find that over and over again, Americans are making mistakes with their financial planning that, quite frankly, are easily avoided. And it really almost breaks my heart, because if you make little mistakes in this period of time, you can have huge consequences. So in order to help you not make those mistakes, I've put together a simple website with some free videos from me to you to help you be smart about your planning. The website is called 3mistakes.com. It's the number 3 spelled out, T-H-R-E-E, 3mistakes.com. Why don't you go there today? Hi Birmingham, Mike Reese here, and I have to tell you, I think you're very fortunate because one of the nation's top retirement planning experts is right there in your neck of the woods. It's my good friend Tad Hill. Tad and I, we get together with top financial advisors, gosh, 4 or 5 times a year anyway, just to brainstorm, figure out how we can better help you. Tad, why don't you take a moment and share with the folks how you and Freedom Financial helps people with their retirement planning in Birmingham.
Well, Mike, as you know, we're chartered retirement planning counselors. So what we do is we sit down with you and help you put together a plan to secure your retirement so you have peace of mind and can accomplish all the goals that you want during your retirement years. And it's about understanding what questions to ask and putting that plan together. So for the folks that call the 800 number, I'm willing to set aside some time on my calendar to sit down and do exactly that. Review your situation and help you know what needs to happen to secure your retirement.
Folks, call that number now. Welcome back to Retiring Well, where it's our job to help you enjoy financial security in any economy. All right, for those of you who watch the show regularly, you know that I have a dog named Charlie. He is an Australian Shepherd. He's 2 years old, and he is ridiculously smart. And Charlie's been out there surfing the internet, and this week he has a very special treat.
Before we see if your investments are on track, why don't you tell me about your retirement plans?
We're just gonna relax, kick it back. Yeah. Stay at home, read the newspaper, go fishing, putt around the garden. Mostly, I'm just looking forward to spending every waking moment together. It's going to be great, isn't it, Nancy?
Yes, dear. You should.
All right, that's probably not the way you want to structure your retirement portfolio, but but Charlie thought anyway, we could have a little fun with it. The idea of buying life insurance just simply to off your spouse and collect the proceeds. Well, the good news is it can work really well because, of course, life insurance is a tax-free benefit, and it's a lot of money a lot of times. I mean, that's good, right? Of course, what's the bad news? The bad news is if you get caught doing this, then you end up in a private jail cell for the rest of your life, so you don't end up collecting after all. Anyway, we thought we'd have a little bit of fun with that on an important topic. Now, by the way, it is really important that you do have life insurance. You know, the thing that we learn is that when clients pass away, if they have decent amounts of life insurance payable to their spouse, it makes life a whole lot easier. So nothing wrong with having life insurance. In fact, we would actually promote that you have life insurance even into retirement. On the other hand, the idea of buying life insurance with the intention of cashing in is probably not the smartest path to take. Okay. So this week we were talking about retirement portfolios, and we looked at different ways to structure your portfolio. If you're already retired, what did we say? Carve out part of your portfolio and dedicate that portion to income. I always say the same thing. It makes a lot of sense for you to talk to a retirement planning specialist because they can help you identify how to get the best use of that part of your portfolio. In other words, which income producing assets generate the most income on a stable and predictable basis? The less money you put in that part of your portfolio, the more money you have available to leave in the growth portion of your portfolio so that you can fight inflation, future health care costs, and all that type of thing. If you're still working, I highly encourage you to be looking at these personal pension plans, or private pension plans as some people call them. These are plans that are set up by insurance companies, and what they do is they give you a guaranteed income stream at a future point down the road. They are extremely powerful tools when used in the right way. So if you're still working, you need to be checking those out. And you saw from your local retirement planning specialist. You heard some great information. I want you to call them. In fact, we're putting the number on the screen one last time so that you get an opportunity to visit them with the initial consultation fee waived. I can't encourage you more. Call your local person. Sit down with them. Have them double check your retirement planning. So folks, that's our show this week. I hope you have a good weekend, and I will see you again next week.